You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey, folks, welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about
how we game.
I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
And that's William. Oh, my goodness.
We just had a little spill here on the table.
That wasn't me.
Great timing for the conversation.
Yep.
Because today's topic is all about
to sleeve or not to sleeve.
And I wanted to hear stories about why you should or shouldn't sleeve. And this is one of these reasons why you should sleeve.
Why maybe you should. Anyway.
Wow, this is, let me bring the top camera down so y'all can see a little more here.
Yeah. Not seeing Will's back there. No.
Sorry. I gotta get on the towel.
This is bananas. Yeah, I can see the mess on the table now. We're playing Betrayal Legacy. So, I mean, it's about as real as it gets here, folks. This is reasons to sleeve number one.
Exactly. This wasn't a planned example either. That's pretty good.
Thanks, Rob.
You're welcome. It was a living example. Yeah. Well, we were scrambling to set up here because we had just finished game number 12, I believe, out of 14 in Betrayal Legacy. And so we were running a few minutes late because we were trying to put together all the equipment and moving stuff around. I just spilled an Arnold Palmer, a little sweet tea and lemonade, right on the middle of the table that we had not yet cleaned up yet.
Ay, Dios mío. I can't even with you.
Yeah.
And you were going to be my example as to why to sleeve. You were going to be my story.
Or I'm the anti. Yeah, there it goes.
No, it was a whole different story on why to sleeve, but this is a reminder.
This is a pretty good example. Yeah.
No.
Oh, I was like, who's doing that?
This is bad.
All right, we're good.
Go ahead, go.
That's just
I'm
bad.
heated right now.
Yep.
That's about as good as it gets. Thank you, William, for cleaning up the table. We appreciate it. Hey, folks, we're the Beans and Dice podcast. We are a hot mess right now. Right as soon as I hit live and go, Robert somehow manages to spill his drink.
Yeah, right on time, right on cue. I told you that wasn't planned, but yeah.
Good thing it's a legacy game, which means
We have 2 games left. That's what I was getting at. We've finished 12 out of 14, so we've got 2 left. So I think this game will make it through the last 2 plays, but just barely, it sounds like.
Diego's asking if this cards are sleeved. No, Diego, these cards are not sleeved.
This one would be a tough one to sleeve, though. Being a legacy game, you're constantly adding cards, removing cards, and these cards are specifically kind of a weird shape.
And specifically totally messed up now, but that's okay. It happens.
I think the cards are good, actually. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get the phone line open.
Yeah.
Because
we're going to take some calls now.
I
Yeah.
gotta like stretch out, trying to dry out.
Yeah.
we'll hear from you all on reasons you sleeve as we provide an example, a living example of why I like to sleeve cards.
I say the house tiles in this betrayal took most of the damage, so unfortunately they probably would not have been sleeved in any case. But
I sleeve my dice
you
and my
sleeve your
tiles.
dice and your tiles and your and your components and all your little chits and everything. This game's full of little chits.
You're a little shit now.
Yeah, something like that.
Phone lines open, 813-618-7099 is the number. Talk to us about why you sleeve or don't sleeve. I want to hear stories from you all on kind of like what just happened here.
Yeah.
Reasons that made you sleeve or made you change your opinion on it or set your ways in it.
Yeah. I've always been an adamant anti-sleever, and my idea behind it always has been that somebody's calling. Let's jump over to the call.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name and where you're calling from.
This is Mitchell from Louisiana.
Hey, Mitchell. How are
Hey,
you?
homie. It's been good to hear from you, man.
Yeah,
I know
all
you've been
right.
busy.
Yeah. There was Gen Con, and then I came back, and my musical was opening, so I've been out of it on Thursdays, but I'm glad to be a call again.
Well, glad to hear from you, and hopefully you have some cool stories to share as we watch William help clean up the
cleaning up there,
tiles.
Yeah.
What you been up to?
Well, first of all, actually not a lot of gaming. I went to Gen Con and had, with William, those several days of nothing but gaming, and that's been 2-3 weeks now. I've only had one game day since then because I've been so busy with my musicals. So now that it's done, I think every day this weekend I have a different friend scheduled to game with. So it's going to be a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of gaming.
Sweet.
My wife is looking at me like, wait, you have what?
You haven't told her that yet? Breaking the news live on the show.
I love it. Fight.
So on the topic of the night, the sleeved cards, I say a big no on that for several reasons. So I see someone just said it in the chat, Wayne, if that card would have been sleeved, then that drink would have gotten in the card. It would have been harder to clean.
There you go.
That. I've had experience with that.
I've seen that too.
Secondly, I don't sleeve my games. I bought one game used that the cards were already sleeved, so I was like, I guess I'll leave them in the sleeves. And I've had so much trouble. Maybe it's the kind of sleeves I have, but they're so slippery. Like if I'm trying to shuffle and then they fall on the ground and they get all dirty and bent anyway because like it's like Butterfingers with them. And that on that same topic, maybe it's just the way I shuffle, but I cannot shuffle with sleeves. It takes forever.
Oh, you can't
and
riffle.
It's not efficient.
Yeah, you can't riffle shuffle sleeve cards. Yeah.
But even so, I have some friends that they sleeve everything, and anytime that I'm playing one of their games that I'm helping set up or tear down and we're shuffling, and they're like, yeah, I don't know what it's called, but the way that you do that, I do it, and I rip the sleeves whenever I try to shuffle that way, like, picking them up and dropping it in, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just not dexterous enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just not dexterous enough for it, so it's a big no for me. But Carlos, you sleeve, right?
A lot.
Yeah.
I think I have a drawer
but
here.
Just dump everything in a box. So what's the point? Like I've seen
sleeve them up nice and then just dump them in the box. Yeah.
But that might be why I have to sleeve because
to protect them. Because you're just throwing them in the box. But
yeah, I do sleeve. I'm definitely a sleever. But for me, the shuffling I feel is easier with the sleeved cards. The mashed. Kind of where you take the two halves and mash them together.
Yes, slide them into each other.
Right.
The sleeves act as a way to be able to kind of like gears, like teeth and gears, just coming together and let them slide in together. Because
do you think that shuffles it as well, though,
as a riffle shuffle or
the
something?
Traditional way?
Yeah, because you're getting a really good. How do you say a spread? A good
mixture, 50-50?
Right. It's like it's almost exactly one card in between each card, so it's almost like a perfect what I would like to get when I riffle shuffle, because sometimes Rob sees me when I riffle shuffle.
Yeah, it depends on your skill.
You get like
with the riffle
15
shuffle,
drop down and another plop, and then another plop of 5 cards.
It takes a little practice. You gotta be a little more dexterous. Yeah.
So I think shuffling for me is easier with the sleeves.
And I got to touch on, you mentioned, Mitchell, with the slipperiness. One other thing is that when you're stacking cards, that's one of the big things I've found, is that if you have a discard pile that starts getting large, or you're putting out a bunch of cards and they're all sleeved, it seems like if somebody just bumps the table, the slipperiness of those sleeves will just cause the whole stack to just kind of slide off of each other. And yeah, so I'm not crazy about that either. But
that's definitely a reason not to sleeve.
I think so.
The stacking, you lose that.
Stacking's rough. Yeah.
And that's actually a good point, because I feel like usually people are going to be more likely to sleeve games that have lots of cards, right? But those are the ones that are going to have those big piles. And now that you mentioned it, I completely know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like I said, the game that I bought used that is sleeved, I can't even sit the deck on the table because it'll just fall over, crumple over.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like almost like it has a mind of its own. Sometimes you'll get them nice, and I'm a gamescaper. That's one of the things I'm known for in our group, that I'm always fixing the little chits and putting everything real nice, and everything's got to be right within the lines of where it is on the table. But you stack them up. I finally get them in a nice little stack, and then we'll go. Somebody won't even bump the table, but it seems like about a minute and a half later, that stack will just kind of on its own just kind of start sliding across. It's like almost like it's got a mind of its own. It's doing its own thing over there. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't actually. It's weird. My games that have a lot of cards, I don't sleeve.
Okay,
because if the decks get too big, it is cumbersome.
Yeah.
So the ability to use the stack of cards outweighs my need to have the card sleeved. So Terraforming Mars has never been sleeved.
Yeah, and that's a lot of cards in that game.
I have a friend who they have every Mars expansion, and they have all of those cards sleeved. Oh my gosh. It's so much.
On that, and that will jump into my next point, not to try to take over the your call here, but my biggest reason for anti-sleeving, my number one reason, is because of the cost, and I'm sure we'll touch on that. And Carlos is much more educated on that than I am because he buys sleeves and I don't. But when I see people go in and spend $20, $30, $40 for a card, a game with a bunch of cards, and they're sleeving all of that, in my mind, I'm just thinking, that's another game, another 2 games that I could buy for the price of just sleeving. Now, on the opposite side of that, I do like to bling out my favorite games if there's upgraded components or things like that. So I guess that's a little bit of a hypocrite because I will spend the money to make the game look better, to buy some upgraded components and things like that on my favorite games, and I'll still never sleeve them. But yeah, that thought just goes to my head anytime I see somebody buying a pack of sleeves and the nice ones, like Carlos, the Dragon Shields, is that
right?
Yeah.
The Dragon Shields. Well, what FFG used to have a set of beautiful sleeves, nice thick sleeves.
Yeah.
And Dragon Shield is my go-to now. And yeah, they're pretty expensive.
Yeah, and I go and see him buy a couple of boxes, and it's $30, and I'm thinking, wow, that's a whole game right there just for some sleeves.
Yeah, Rob, what you were saying about kind of like blinging out games, I'm completely, or rather not blinging out games. I'll buy stuff like, okay, for example, for Terraforming Mars, back, I think in the big box or something, it came with a dual layer player boards, one of those versions. But back in the day, in the OG Terraforming Mars days, it was just that piece of paper, right? And if you bought the table, you have no idea where you are. So, like, I bought the broken token ones that, they inset. But other than stuff like that actually improve the game experience, in terms of, like, aesthetics, I've talked to you guys about this. I don't really care about how a game looks. So, like, for example, Ankh, I think I told you guys, I bought it at Gen Con. I was so excited. I regretted not kickstarting it, but it's just like I'm too impatient. And so my friends making fun of me like, well, you got it anyway, and now you don't have the blinged out version. But the thing is, I paid, I don't remember how much, but probably less than half the price. I think it was, what, $200 something? I think I paid $100. And I played the game, and it was a ton of fun. And I wasn't at all miffed by the fact that I had cardboard pieces. Like, that kind of stuff just, I don't know, it doesn't faze me. And now I have extra money to go buy another game.
Sure.
Don't tell my wife that, though. But.
Lay off the games.
No,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. The purchase of the super blinged out, to me, just hasn't panned out as worth it, because and maybe it's because of what we do and how many games we play. We rarely get back to those games often enough,
Definitely,
to make that extra investment value add.
Yeah, there's just a few games that I've upgraded. I know you've upgraded more than I have, but there's just a couple that are my favorites. Orleans is one of them that I had bought some extra stuff for. But yeah, so I don't do it a lot. But yeah, you've gone full in on the Scythe stuff, which is really cool. I love to play your version of Scythe, but yeah, it's just, again, that thought through my head. That's another game. That's another 2 games I can buy. So it's tough for me.
Yeah, now expansions and stuff, that actually adds gameplay. I'm not saying like I won't buy extras, but just things that are just aesthetics, yeah. I mean, and to me, sleeves are basically just aesthetics.
But what about
natural
game
aesthetics.
sleeves for games that are in rare print, or only do one printing? There's a couple games that only do that.
I sleeve a lot of my GMT games because of that. GMT is hard to find.
I don't have a lot of games that are like that.
Yeah, again,
So at Gen Con, I bought Captains of the Gulf, which was designed by a guy from Louisiana through Stronghold, and they made a one-time limited print run, and it's been hard to get. That's why I snagged up at Gen Con. I just punched it the other day, and even though it's a limited print run, it's like, no, I'm not going to sleeve it. So I guess even that, I'm a savage, and I don't care enough.
Savage.
I was going to say, then you're getting into the borderline like collector, because you got game collectors who I think those of us that are newer to the hobby are just trying to build our collection, and we're not looking for those. But as you get more and more games, and as you get to the level where Carlos is versus me, I've got a little over 100 games probably. Carlos has probably got, what, 300 or 400?
284.
Oh, okay. So
based on my last update.
Gotcha. Okay.
Jesus.
So when you get to that point,
but who's counting?
yeah, exactly. When you get to a certain point, then you do become more selective. I guess partially because you start running out of room for most of us to store them, but then you start getting more selective on what you buy, and then you start getting those grail games that maybe you really want to bling out or protect, or again, you might those rare games like Will's talking about, those limited print runs, those games that haven't been reprinted in a while. And those, I guess I could see that you may want to take some extra measures to keep those nice and keep the resale value high.
Keep Robert from bringing drinks to the table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I like, Robert, that you consider yourself, you're saying, I only have a little bit over 100 games, and that's considered a low number.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all relative, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But
well, all right, you guys. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I hope you have a good show tonight. It was nice to call back in after a few weeks.
yeah, it was good to hear from you. It's been a
It
little
is
while.
good to hear from you.
Yeah.
We'll hear from you hopefully next week. Now that you got some time to get some games in, we can get a report on what you played.
For sure. I got a lot of games I brought back from, well, either that I bought at Gen Con or I ordered from Amazon because I didn't have enough room as a result of a Gen Con. So I have a lot of new ones.
Awesome.
All right, have a good week, man.
All right.
Thanks, Mitchell.
Okay, you too. Bye.
That was Mitchell from New Iberia. Phone lines open again. 813-618-7099 is the number. Call in. Talk to us about your sleeved games. Sleeving
habits, your bad habits. I'll call it bad habit of sleeving.
I don't call it a bad habit.
Yeah, I mean,
I used to sleeve everything.
oh, got a caller. Oh, Carlos is plugging in a cable here, but here we go. Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name and where you're calling from.
Hey guys, this is Nick Oben
Hey, Nick.
calling from Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, from Baltimore. He's not local this week. That's right. You're out of town.
There you go. I wanted to give Carlos the checkbox. You can check Maryland off. I don't know if you have a Maryland caller yet.
We have not had a Maryland caller yet.
We're going to get a map, and we're going to start an actual checkbox here eventually. We're going to start checking off states or pinning states or whatever we do. But yeah, how you been, Nick?
Oh, been really well. Been great. I actually. I don't bring the other side of the coin yet into the conversation. I'm sure later you'll have callers who are
no problem.
Who are adamant, adamant with the adamant for sleep.
Yeah, keep coming on my side. That's all right.
I don't think Rob needs any more help.
In the Rob and Mitchell camp of no sleeves. I wonder how much of it has to do with in college. I played just a ton of poker and straight up 52 card deck card games, which of course no one in their right mind, and I think I can safely say this, would sleeve a standard deck of bicycles. We're talking $1.99 bicycle deck of cards, right?
Yeah.
No one would ever sleeve that thing. So for me, cards, the feeling of the riffle shuffle, the feeling of the actual paper, the card material in your hands, that's what a deck of cards is. It's what it feels like.
Sure.
There's a nostalgia there to it. There's a feeling. There's a texture component, and I just abhor. I actually really just do not like
going even further that way.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah.
Triggered. No, but I mean, it's like you go over to your grandma's house and she's wrapped her couch in plastic.
Yeah, there you go.
Why bother? Yeah, like why bother? Like it's not comfortable anymore, right?
Yep.
So so that's my thing. And then the one last thing I'll say, because I feel like I'm ranting now against sleeves. If you do sleeve I will say this: I played plenty of games with sleeved cards, and you do get over that, right? Like
sure.
By the time it's your second turn, it's not like I'm sitting there being like, "Oh God, I hate these sleeves. They suck." Right? Like you move on and it's fine.
It is what it is.
Fine.
Yeah.
Exactly. I do think it takes a little bit away from that feel of the cards and being able to shuffle them and riffle them.
Really?
But the last point I'm making, Rob, this is my go-to whenever I think about to sleeve or not to sleeve, is our Gloomhaven game. Your Gloomhaven game.
Yeah.
We didn't sleeve because it's Gloomhaven and there's too many cards to sleeve of like three different card sizes.
Well, I'm sure somebody's doing it, but yeah, it's not me. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that physical copy of that game has sat out, right? Not covered in a box. It has sat out, exposed in a room in Florida for years.
A couple years now. Yeah.
And it is fine.
Yep.
I'm here to tell you, like, I pick up the cards and they're fine.
Yeah.
Like,
but are they?
If you look, if you look for imperfections, if you look for blemishes in games. I'm sure you'll find them. You will. But we play the game and we have a good time, and they're fine.
And we've got over
Now,
100 hours in that game.
Well over. Yeah, the argument of like, oh, I have to protect my games because, I pull it off the shelf 5 times a year, 7 times a year. And what are we even talking about? Like you said, 100 games in your collection is considered small. So we're talking maybe you're playing your games 12, 20 times a year, maybe, and the rest of the time it sits on a shelf, and you feel the need to like protect the cards from elements.
You got all that plastic sitting there.
You just don't. I have empirical evidence that tells me you don't need to do that, because I've left this game out, exposed to the open air in a non-central AC room. I should point that out.
That was out kind of in a garage. Yeah, workshop there.
Yeah, we play in the workshop. It's and they're fine. They're fine. So,
I don't know. I disagree. I left the game in a car, in a box for one day, and it was hot. I come back and the cards all curled up. If I had sleeved them, they would have stayed solid and flush.
They've been insulated, protected.
Oh, yeah, sure. All that heat would have been locked in. They've been cooked.
But I don't buy sleeves. I don't buy sleeves to protect the cards from the elements. The only ones I buy now are to protect, like you said, GMT games. Sometimes they only do one print, and they will never reprint that copy again. And if it becomes one of those like, oh, okay, if we ever play this game out there, you're gonna, especially in most games, you shuffle the cards quite a bit. A one blemish there, not too bad. But when the cards start fraying on the sides, what are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to go to Tom Vassal. I just want to throw this in here, but I wanted to say this.
No, I think Wayne already.
Oh, did he mention?
Yeah, Wayne mentioned the Vassal rule, but hit us with the Vassal rule.
I don't know. I may misquote this. I'm just remembering there was a conversation I saw on Tom Vassal on the Dice Tower, one of his live things. He mentioned that he likes his games to show that they've been a little loved, and so a little bit of blemish on your cards, a little bit of nicks and things shows that it's been well played, that you like the game, that you take it out of the box on a regular basis and play it, and it just shows that you enjoy that game, that it's got a little wear and tear, it's got a little love on it, and that's kind of my feeling on it.
The chat, Edmund and Wayne both cited Vassal.
Oh, okay.
But Wayne was talking about Vassal says if I play a game and the cards wear out because it's that good,
there you go.
It will be reprinted.
Right.
I can buy a reprint.
There you go. That's the Vassal rule. That any game.
We're talking about a guy who also gets paid to play games.
Yeah,
and he also can be like, oh, I can just buy another copy.
Well, Nick, I appreciate you giving some love to Robert on his side.
Carlos needs some help. Somebody call him.
I think
help
William's somewhere in the middle.
I'm in the middle.
Okay.
I won't do what you do because what you do is crazy.
Yeah.
What Carlos does is crazy. I only protect what I think is my investment, but I won't go buy sleeves for every single game.
This is just one bin of sleeves.
Yeah, just one bin of sleeves.
I have another bin of sleeves over there on Rob's side. I mean, what you need? I got Europeans. I got tarots. What you need? I got this. Bobby's got this.
What I will do though is I will take sleeves off of games that I know I'm never going to play or get rid of, and just reuse those.
Yeah. What you got, Nick?
No, I was just going to say, as much as I will never sleeve my own games, I will reiterate that at the end of the day, as much as a fun topic as this is to debate, I don't know that it actually matters too much.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've played dozens of games in someone else's copy where they were sleeved. Every game you play at a board game cafe, right, is going to be sleeved probably, and it's fine. It's completely playable. So.
See, my card here, my hand mirrors of dimensions, which is an Omen card from Betrayal
Legacy,
would disagree with you ever since Robert spilled an Arnold Palmer on him.
Let me see that thing. Oh, come on. It's got maybe a little spot on it.
Thanks for the help, Nick. I appreciate it.
Oh, it looks like a dirty
Yeah,
mirror.
man, you guys have a great night.
You too. Thanks for calling, Nick.
It's fine.
So, folks, I'm going to ask you to call in and give us stories on what set you in your ways, right? So I want to share.
What kind of tonight caused you to start sleeving cards? Is that what you're getting at?
Because Nick was talking about like wear and tear.
Yeah.
Right? He's talking wear and tear in a controlled environment, his house,
Sure.
Nobody else there. I love to take games out into the world.
Well, we have 3 people playing, so again, just to set it straight, I mean, there's 3 of us playing, so that's not nobody there, and it is out in his garage, which is not air conditioned.
I'm saying outside of the 3 players.
Okay, sure.
You have no other
Okay.
what forces having impact on your game. It's very protected where it's at on your table.
Sure.
I like to take games into the world. Phone line's open, 813-618-7099.
Yeah, he's got a point because he takes them on like camping trips.
I take them camping. I take them on airplanes. I take them on road trips. Rob, every time Rob and I go somewhere, I've always got a game in my pocket. I'm in the real world playing
It's a game
games.
in your pocket. Oh,
I'm just happy to see you.
I thought so. That's disappointing. That's what I always thought. But anyway, but those are little games. So I guess there's a bit of a differentiation maybe in would there be a difference whether you would sleeve a small game or a large game with hundreds of cards?
Oh, I don't know.
Once we get into the real, like I tried to sleeve all of Villainous and then I gave up.
Yeah.
That was just too much.
Yeah.
Sleeving all of it. I figured. So now what I do is I just keep enough sleeves in there to manage like 3 decks.
Okay.
And once, because I don't want to ever play that game with
So do you
3 people
unsleeve
more
them all
than 3.
and then resleeve?
Yes.
And,
I'm an unsleeve resleever.
wow.
No,
That's a
not
whole
for
nother.
that.
That's
Not for
another whole
that.
class.
But here's
yeah.
why, right? So like you never know what's going to happen to your stuff. I mean, imagine this, if you will. This is the story I was going to use to say why I set my waves.
Okay, go ahead.
One of the reasons why I confirms for me why sleeving's important.
Besides, right? This.
Yeah, well, Rob gave me a better example today
yeah.
by spilling
This is
literally
better, yeah.
at the beginning of the show, right as we started, spilling a drink on the table. We're at Escape WinterCon, and we're playing Maglev. Everything's great, right? Except for I needed to get some more space on the table. Well, Rob had the lid of the Maglev box on the table, showing off the fact that it's Maglev.
And we were
right?
playing Maglev, yeah.
So I pick up said lid of box. So it's just the lid standing upright. I grab the lid and I go to move the lid.
Obviously without looking, but go ahead, yeah.
Well, I looked at the lid. It was a lid.
The wrong side of the lid, but go ahead. Yeah.
Inside of the lid, on the other side, I did not know that Robert used his open can of Pepsi,
Yeah.
half drank
It was
Pepsi,
about 3/4 drink. But,
to
yeah.
be a weight
To
for the lid
Oh, it wasn't
to
a weight.
keep it upright.
Oh, it wasn't a weight. That's not the reason it was there.
You used it as a coaster?
I set it there to
help
get
me
it,
understand.
to get it out of the way. So it was away from our playing area. It was on the edge of the table.
That's even
inside
worse.
of the lid of the Maglev
All
box.
right. Anyway, keep going.
So I grab the box and I literally take it from the upright way and I just kind of set it down so that it's open, right?
And there goes
so
the
I can
soda.
start moving all the rule books and cards in and
Scrape everything into the
Yep,
box.
I start moving everything to the box. And I'm like,
You don't even pay attention.
because
There you
why
go.
would
There's my
I?
point.
I'm sorry. No, I have
There's
to,
my point.
No, like you don't realize that.
Why would
hey,
you not look?
there's- First of all, when you pick up a box lid, did you not realize the weight was off?
It must have been fairly empty.
It was maybe a third
so
in there.
secondly, you not realize that you just do this.
yeah. he grabbed it pretty
yes.
quick. He
You
just
don't even look.
I grabbed
He just
it,
kinda yanked it
and
up.
yanked it.
because the can went actually flying. It went up in
So
the
anyway,
air,
let me
end
guess.
over end.
You got
so-
cards wet, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Cards got wet. Rule book got wet. Baggies got wet.
So we've learned our lesson. We don't grab box lids anymore.
I was really hoping you'd learn a lesson.
Oh,
that
no.
You don't use a box lid
It's actually
as a coaster.
It's actually both y'all's fault.
50-50. We'll have to share
You don't put a drink near a board game. Number one,
But-
all right. But number two, you pay attention where
But we
shit's
do.
at.
But we do.
No, I have these edges, Robert,
Oh.
and I provide folks for y'all folks at home. We have a help me name this thing again.
It's a
Game topper.
Game topper.
Game topper?
Game topper. Berkey does
Berkey's,
these.
yep, mhm.
And on the perimeter, I have myself. I've hand dremeled these rails that lock in, right? And if you look over here, folks, you'll see I've got my beverage on the outside of the table, and I provide these for everyone. They're laying everywhere. But Robert just can't seem to stand them.
I've got short arms. I can't reach out there over these things hanging off the side of the table.
They dig in your side, man.
Yeah.
If you reach the wrong way and you get hit with the
But
ball in
it's
the rib,
it's so worth it for protection of the game.
We're good.
It's sippy cup time for Robert, says
Yeah,
Wayne.
That's the important thing. Sipping cup time. Protect your drinks.
Should never had to put a drink in the cover. Thank you, Mitchell.
yeah.
He's on my side.
No,
That's a
no,
that's
no,
a
no, no.
first. That's a
There's a first for Mitchell's taking your side on
that
something.
is a first time ever Mitchell has agreed with me on anything.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he should not put a drink, but you
should look.
pay attention.
Why should you ever have to look inside of a
You
box
should
for liquids?
always look.
Not
around
for
the
liquids.
game
Am I going to
table.
find a sandwich?
Just
Am
find
I
Find
gonna-
what's in there?
I told you, loaded gun could have been in there.
Should
Who
be
knows?
anything in a box but game components.
When you go to a convention, wait, who owned the game?
Robert,
It was Robert's game.
Yeah.
Oh man, well that's even worse.
Yeah. So it's on me. It was my game.
So technically, he can do whatever the hell he wants with that.
Yeah,
So,
there you go. There you go.
I don't agree with Robert a lot.
all right, so
I'm
that's
sorry.
one
there you
example
go.
as to why I feel.
That phone number in a minute, too.
Oh, yeah, it's on the board, 813-618-7099. Call in, tell us your stories.
I think they just want to hear us banter about this.
Oh, maybe.
But, okay, so that's a reason why I think cards should be sleeved, because they do. Although Wayne did say something about cards getting more wet when they're inside. Mitchell
mentioned that, yeah. Because I've had that where you spilled them, and then there's that barrier, that vapor lock, and then you're pulling the cards out, and they're stuck in the sleeves. And it's
that happens, right? But it's only one side that's open.
Yeah.
Right? And it's usually the short end. I would say 25%, less than 25% chance that the water's going to get into that side.
Yeah.
It could hit the other side. So it's more protection.
That's usually if something is sat in water, then it would kind of seep all in. So
Well, I mean, let's just talk about why did we have game sleeves anyway? Most of the card sleeves, really? I mean, was it Magic that started it?
Yes, and that's because of protection of their investment.
Because the cards have
that makes
value.
sense.
So really the sleeves are protecting a value. So
But
really,
no, I was playing a card game at the game at Armada, which is like a vinyl flooring.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And one of my games, a card fell on the ground on the floor.
I remember this story, yeah.
And
So you
one of
slip
the
on it or
other
something?
players
walked and slipped.
used their foot to slide it back over, right?
Oh, that would
And
piss
it was
me
on
off.
its back. So now these floors aren't perfectly clean. There's grit. And when that card came back to the table, on the backside you could see scratches.
Let's try it with this one, just to show an example.
Oh, it's too late. It's already wet. Might as well. So the whole backside of the card got all scratched up
I've seen that.
from being slid onto the floor.
Yeah.
So from then on, I could, whenever that card would show up again on the top of the deck and I could see the scratches,
You had it memorized.
you can't unmemorize that.
So-
Do you remember what was the
It was
the
Lost Cities.
What
Lost
was the
Cities.
blue?
The 8. I think it was the blue 8.
It was the six
Or the
six blue.
Was the 6 blue? All
I
right.
think it was six
Well,
blue. But we both know it's blue.
Yeah.
Right? Knowing forever on more.
But see, that's open information now for the rest of us. You can call it a little bit of a spoiler to the game, but when that card comes up, we both know that's the next one in the deck. So
Yeah. So that's to me is a story that cements my confirmation of if I'm out of a controlled environment,
I wouldn't.
my
Play,
games
I
are sleeved.
wouldn't play with someone like that.
And another topic, just again, please call in and let us know your opinions on this. Or if you want to talk about something else, of course, just let us know. Call, let us know what you've been playing, what you've been up to.
Yeah, who do you agree with?
Yeah,
Robert,
with,
Carlos.
with the old game box. But another thing I was going to mention though is the quality of the card. And again, I'm sure for some people that makes a difference as well. I'm sure there's some people out there, and I've heard some people out there who, depending on the quality of the card in the game, they may choose to sleeve or not sleeve.
Yeah,
and
that'll be me.
One of my best examples is Lost Cities, like we were just talking about. Those cards were notoriously flimsy, bad, low quality, and I know Tom Vassell mentioned that was one of his and his wife's favorite games for years and years and years. They played the heck out of that game. He had bought that game 4 or 5 or 6 times over because the cards kept wearing out. And again, there can be a huge difference, and I'd say even more recently, a lot of developers, manufacturers are making better quality cards. They're giving them texture. They're making them almost a plastic material. So
No, not almost. I just,
some of them are plastic.
While we were
Okay,
here, I
yeah.
just pulled this down.
Palm Island, yep.
So first game that I ever bought that came with plastic cards is Conflict of Heroes: Awakening the Bear. All of the cards in that game are plastic.
Okay.
They're actual plastic. This is Palm Island. This is Palm Island designed by John Metling, published by Portal Dragon Games. It's a cooperative solo game. Every card in here made of plastic. You
Yeah.
can go to the pool,
Swimming
you can go to
pool.
the beach,
Yeah.
and they're not going to get messed up at all. These will never be sleeved because they're made of plastic.
Sure, that makes sense.
They got their own sleeve.
Built-in sleeves.
And so there's definitely different levels. I mean, even without going all the way to plastic, there are some cards that I think are just going to hold up to a spill. They're going to hold up to wear and tear. They're going to hold up to being slid across that game room floor a lot better than some others. And I think anybody who's played a lot of games has had those experiences. You've seen those cards where when you get them, they just kind of feel cheap, and it's like, ooh, yeah, this is, and it kind of says something about the game sometimes, although it probably shouldn't. Again, I'm more of a mechanics kind of guy. So if a game is mechanically solid, I enjoy playing it no matter what. But even in a good mechanical game, you get some cheap cards, some flimsy cards in there, and they just have that feeling that when you pick them up,
Paper.
yeah, it's kind of, ooh, okay, yeah, we're playing with this. All right, well,
And that makes me sleeve them more because I feel like they're way more susceptible to damage.
sure, yep, getting nicked, getting bent, getting wet, anything, yeah.
Or depending on how people hold it. Some people hold the cards with their thumb, like
Oh, yeah.
Put that little indent in it.
Yeah, and you can see people the way some people riffle their cards and play with them when it's not their turn and stuff. And if you're playing with some low quality cards and it's your copy of the game, I would imagine that makes some people cringe. But
here's an example of some sleeves that I use. These are the sleeves by Dragon Shield.
there was a Biblios there.
This is Biblios, one of my favorite games to play anywhere but home.
Good game, yep.
I don't think I've ever played this game at home. Like, I feel like this game has really only come out at restaurants.
A few times with the kids, but yeah.
So with the Dragon Shields, you get this matte back, which you can feel.
Oh, yeah.
Gives you a nice grippy texture.
They have a slick side, and then they have a textured side.
And then they have the slick clear side where the card goes in.
Okay.
You do the matte shields as well. And for me, this is, like you said, Robert, flimsy cards. You throw on some matte clear shields from Dragon Shields on them, and it just changes the whole card.
I'm sorry. Yeah, this is
It's just flimsy
this is
paper.
a flimsy card.
Right.
So this would be one where like I need it. This is
And if you're going to play the game a lot, like we do, Biblios is a game we play a lot. That's maybe where I would start thinking about if that was my copy. If I owned that, I might think about doing that.
But yeah, I remember you've taken that to a couple of pubs.
Yeah.
Yep. But then what happens when you sleeve your cards? Right. Here's a reason for not sleeving your cards. I had to remove the insert.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
Because companies just don't seem to make inserts that support sleeved cards.
They do now.
I said they're getting more and more better about that. I think, but yeah,
a lot of the Kickstarter inserts will say supports either both, one or the other.
It's an advertising thing now, or what I would say a benefit. What's the word I'm looking for? It's
feature.
A feature. It's a feature now. Hey, we have an insert that will support sleeved cards, so it's a selling point. Yeah.
So that's another reason why I choose to sleeve. I'm a sleever. I enjoy it. Call in. Tell me what your thoughts are. Tell me what you've been playing.
Yeah, Carlos needs some help. Give him some love.
Not many folks are on my side though. That's okay.
Anti-sleevers.
I can live with that.
I'm neutral. I'm on both. I'm like right in the middle.
Yeah, down the middle. So that's good that with three of us were split on that.
But yeah, Rob does have a point though. How many you have over 300 games?
And if you said 284.
If you sleeved half of them,
oh yeah,
you would have had
the cost
almost double the amount of games here.
It could have been up over 500. No, not quite that high, but over 400.
No,
probably.
not quite that
maybe
high.
400.
I don't know. A lot of these games have a lot of cards now. A lot of games are starting to have a lot more cards in them for a lot more resources.
But you haven't sleeved everything. You sleeve the games that you play more.
And then I
than-
move, like William said, I move sleeves around.
Yeah.
Right, so I will take sleeves from one game when I'm done playing it for a while and move it to another.
So what about sleeves that were designed for the game,
I stay away from those.
like Terraform Mars Kickstarter?
Right, and then Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea.
I didn't get the Kickstarter sleeves. I said, well, why? All it did was put a sleeve with the same picture on the back of that sleeve.
That's on the back of the card.
On the back of the card for almost double, triple the cost. So I was like, you know what? No, because like you said, that's a game where 9 times out of 10 you're not going to go through every card in there.
Yeah, makes sense.
So I didn't get the sleeves when I got that Kickstarter. I was like, I thought that was dumb, and I won't get those.
Yeah, Mitchell's bringing up a good point here. He wonders if sleeves are on the decline with all of the environmental awareness popping up regarding board games.
But
Could be a thing.
but a lot of games are making better cards because of that.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of plastic cards, but that's just going to bring more plastic into the environment.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you balance that? Like, to me, a plastic card is a feature. To someone else, that's just waste.
So look at that game, though. It's designed to be traveled.
Yeah, this one, Palm Island, is meant to be played like in a pool or something.
Wherever. Yeah, everywhere. For sure.
All right, let's talk about what we've been playing.
Got a caller.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
This is Ryan Maddox from Tampa, Florida.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey,
We're
Ryan.
talking about sleeves, but if you got another topic for us, we'll take it.
No, I actually want to talk about this. I'm actually with you, Carlos. I don't sleeve my cards.
There we go. Somebody on Carlos's side.
Whatever. He's got that stupid board over there you can do.
Let's hear it.
I can understand why you like them, but I honestly don't really understand. Like, it's the base name of the card. It's like it's come as is. Like, it's like the purity, I guess you could say, of it. Like, this is how it was meant to be.
Protecting it.
Like a little baby.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, yeah, I'm not really about that. Like, when it comes to that, like, I mean, I'm not really that hard with my cards.
Yeah, but see, you don't have friends like Robert spilling drinks everywhere.
It happens. All right.
Well, that happen here and there, and you just got to be fast and wipe it off.
Yeah.
Any stories for you, gaming events, or anything you can remember that kind of helped you make a decision on how you handle protecting your games?
There was one time when I was in high school. We had brought exploding cats to class one day.
Yeah.
And, we had we were having a hard decision because I was almost at my combo, because once you get like 3 or 4, I don't remember, 3 or 4 of the same kind of cat, you can go, I want to take a new cat card. And I was one away, so we were having so hard, and I was like, no, don't take it from me, and we almost ripped it, but it just slipped out of my finger and had like a tiny little tear in the side. So that person went and got like a bunch of sleeves for their cards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just the fun and the excitement overwhelmed, and people are grabbing cards. They're more likely to get torn or nicked.
Yeah. Corners
bent. I'm with Ryan. Ryan's with me. We're good. Sleeves.
One for Carlos. Yeah. One. But and I guess. Go ahead.
Be a little bit gentler with cards.
Yeah, I was gonna say it depends a little bit on, I guess, how much that bothers you. Other people playing your game, other people, having little mistakes. And I know there's some people in our particular game group, in our game circle, that are very protective of their games. They don't want people throwing them in the trunk of the car. Carlos, giving them a little toss, giving them a little nudge.
No, we're not going to call anybody out.
No.
First name starts with an M. Finishes with an Eichel.
Michael? No,
Michael.
Okay, yeah, no. But so it depends. Again, for me, if I'm playing a game and somebody spilled something, and they are quick to try to respond, quick to try to clean it up, and I know it was an accident, and it's like, okay, well, that's going to happen, even if I lose a game, most of the time it can be replaced. It's not that big a deal. So it depends, but there are definitely people on the other side of that fence, I understand, that are very protective of their games. And before you even start, it's like, hey, no food around the table, no Cheetos, no drinks, keep those off to the side. So
I need you to sign this waiver.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep your Pepsis out of the box.
Out of the box lid.
That's a little far. That's a red flag right there. If they got a waiver.
Yeah, that's a little extreme. But
any hot games you've been playing, Ryan, that would make you want to protect it lately?
Coup.
Cool.
I just got it. Coup. It is like I'm thinking about getting some sleeves for Coup. Like, the box is big. The box that comes with bases is big enough for them. So it probably would be one of the games I have a set of sleeves for, but other than that, probably not.
Yeah, so is Coup new to you, or have you played that for a while? Or
I've been playing with friends, but I got it for myself so I can play with some other friends who don't have it.
Okay.
See, I've not played Coup.
I have.
But I have played Resistance, which I think is in the same world as Coup, like the party sub.
It is, but it's a completely different game.
Oh yeah.
It is not Resistance at all.
No, definitely not.
So Ryan, give me the quick elevator pitch on why play Coup. I haven't played it yet.
If you want to have fun and try and have a bunch of chaos and trying to lie about everything you have, you can just have a wacky, and you can see that thought you had, that when one person had that one card you thought they had, and then they don't have any of the cards that you thought they had, and they've been swapping them in and out. It's oh my god, it's so much fun.
And it sounds like this game would come out in places where you would want them to be sleeved, right? Everybody's having libations, you got drinks being passed around, kind of more of a social environment. Yeah. So yeah, definitely sleeve them then. Look, there's a picture of the card sleeved right there, Robert.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the box that comes with, I have a box right here. Those cards, the box is huge compared to like the actual cards. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I'm watching the stream as well. I'm looking at some of the images. You can see that the cards are like half the size of the box, because the box actually has like little rules, so you can like just out on the fly, like, oh, what does this one do? Okay, I can do that. But that's the size of the box. But those cards are not the size of the box.
So you'll have plenty of room to sleeve them and keep them stored in there.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, cool. Ryan recommends it. Ryan from Tampa, right?
Yeah.
What's your game shop? Where do you play at?
Armada.
That's my spot.
Okay, that's where we go.
Imperial Lightning for life.
Is this Ryan
Bodyguard
M?
forever. Yep.
Oh, Blood Bowl Ryan. I know Ryan. Hey, Ryan.
Took a minute.
I destroyed you this week.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, you did.
Ryan, okay, I'll have to share my Blood Bowl match later, but Ryan tried to stop my winning streak, and he's been the closest player to almost end my winning
really?
streak.
Okay.
This week I was going in with 5-0. I talked about it last week being 5-0. I come into this week's game with Ryan. It's a rematch, right, Ryan? It was our second game.
Yeah. It was our second and final game of the season.
I received the ball in the first half, and he takes it, knocks it out of my hands, almost stops me from scoring in the first half. So then I have to kick in the second half. He scores, so now we're tied, right? And then he kicks it back to me in the second half and puts it like in my back corner of my pitch, my field.
Yeah.
And I got dwarves. We got little legs, bro. We can't run
Not
that
going
thing
very far, very
across.
fast.
So we got to do like a 99-yard run. It was Robert. It was the last action of the last turn
To get that touchdown?
where I scored that touchdown to win the game 2-1. You had me on edge, brother.
It hurt.
It hurt. Yeah, his face. He almost killed my win streak.
Deflating, yeah.
Well, brother, I hope to see you in the playoffs. We got 4 more, and then we're into the playoffs. I hope to see you in there.
I'm probably gonna get that wild card spot, but yeah, I'm gonna end it up here. Y'all have fun. I'm gonna listen to the podcast a little bit more.
Thanks,
Thanks
Ryan.
for calling.
That's great, Ryan.
That's cool.
Yeah, he and we had a fun match.
I don't think I know Ryan, no?
No, you haven't met Ryan.
Haven't met him yet?
He's mostly Blood Bowl.
Okay.
But he's also, you see, he's learning about board games.
Yeah, that's cool.
He's picking up some board games.
That's good. Little knowledge,
Of course, I gave him one of the Beans and Dice last time we played.
that's cool, yeah.
Consolation prize, you know.
Yeah, for losing. Here's your prize.
Here, roll this. This works better.
Well, you gave him that after the game, so the loaded die after the game.
I'm 6-0. I don't think I've ever done so well.
Yeah, I know. In years past, you've talked about how you had to change strategies halfway, and you just were going to try to hurt people because you were doing so poorly. But yeah, this year's been a big turnaround for you.
We got some comments in here. Let's run through some of these comments. Make sure we don't miss any. Edmund talked from Sweden again. He's in the chat.
Oh, hi, Edmund.
He's D-Day Dice. Any thoughts about it? Okay, so I sleeved it.
Okay.
For Dan at the cafe when I helped him sleeve a bunch of cards. I considered buying D-Day Dice.
Okay.
Because I like war games and I like World War II history. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it. I know it's like $20 for the new version of it. I haven't pulled the trigger on it. I've got Airland and Sea, the card game, sleeved.
Yep. Yep.
That is my light, fast World War II themed game.
Okay, yeah.
To answer Edmund's question there. Let's see.
Is your Battle Line sleeved? I can't remember.
Battle Line sleeved.
Battle Line sleeved, okay.
Because they tend to go to pubs.
Yeah.
Right? Pubs, restaurants.
That's
away from home.
Restaurant table game, yeah.
The Battle Line wasn't reprinted for a while, so
yeah.
Wayne talks about how those of us with a ton of games, how many of those games are going to get played enough to be worth sleeving.
Yeah.
He's talking about only games like Magic or Pokemon.
Sure.
I think trading card games got me sleeving. Started my sleeving, and now I guess maybe that's like something I've kept because I played the Magic.
Maybe it's a thing, yeah. Because I never did Magic or anything like that. dabbled in what was the newer one by Richard Garfield, the
Keyforge.
Keyforge. I dabbled in Keyforge a bit, but really hadn't played those kinds of games, card games before that. So,
did you play any TCGs, William, that made you want to sleeve?
I played Magic back in the early '90s.
Okay,
but we didn't have sleeves.
Yeah,
before sleeving.
That was like there was not much. There was no one used sleeves.
BS before sleeving.
Yeah. So and then after a while, people just started getting like some sleeves and stuff. But
yeah,
the only cards you sleeved back then were you would buy those baseball card like hard clamshell sleeves for like the really rare cards back in those days.
I did that.
And you put the cards in there, and you would make a proxy. You would take a island card and you would write down what the card is, and you say, yeah, well, I really do own it. It's right here, but I'm not shuffling it in my deck because this card's like $100, so I ain't gonna touch it. But that was how we did it back in the day. But after that, no. And we're talking about when card quality back then was. Ugh.
I mean, Magic cards, I think, have been steady. I don't think they've changed. I think they're like pretty much the same formula from the beginning.
They've been like
quality and
they're not linen or anything.
No.
Yeah.
And they can't change it because they have to
Right,
be able
you have to be able to shuffle them in.
Right. So
Diego says Fantasy Flight sleeves are now called Game-genic sleeves.
Oh, okay.
Because they went from Fantasy Flight, Asmodee, when they bought Fantasy Flight, moved them to Game-genic. So that's the one I was looking for. I couldn't get it in my head.
That's not the Dragon Shield. That's a different thing.
No, Dragon Shield's a different company.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
But Fantasy Flight, now Game-genic, sleeves are also thick sleeves.
Okay.
Now, they don't have that matte texture on the back, which I really like.
Yeah.
They're just thick sleeves. They're not the penny sleeves like the Sleeve Kings.
Okay.
Wayne talks about games that aren't going to be reprinted. He sleeves them like Union Pacific.
I could see that. Yeah.
We get back to the comment about Robert getting a sippy cup. Please
Yeah. All right.
donate one of those to the podcast if you really like us.
Get one made up with little beans and dice on it or something. We'll just slap a sticker on it. Yeah.
Edmund talks about he sleeves cards for game design. That he uses the cards that are clear on one side and the color on the other, and then he can print out cards on regular paper and then put them in the sleeve.
That completely makes sense.
Kind of makes a card,
especially if you're editing rules and you're changing some cards and you're doing some play testing.
There was a lot of that at Gen Con.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah, that would make sense.
People just making games.
Well, yeah, there were people who would they would just have sleeves, and it's like, here, this is what this card is, and they will just have like printed. It literally was a printed card.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because it costs like nothing. You take a regular card, you just print whatever it is, it can be from your computer, and you put it in the sleeve, and now it feels like a real card.
Yeah.
So the card itself can be poor quality, but when it's in a sleeve that
paper,
you already have, and it symbolizes what the card is supposed to be. Even some well-known designers did that out there.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for a prototype, I guess, type game. Yeah,
that's what they did. It's like, oh, well, here, this is what this card is, and this is what they had.
Wayne commented about games that leave the house.
Okay.
Those are the games that get sleeved. That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't take mine out too much.
It's kind of my world.
For our monthly game day, I pop some games out, but that's about it. But you bring
When's
yours
the
out.
Next monthly game day?
That's coming up this Saturday.
Armada Games. 12 p.m. We're going to be there this Saturday.
Now, I was
12 to close.
I was proud that I sleeved Who Goes There.
Okay, newer game.
Because it's a game that they don't do a retail print. It was only Kickstarter print. And they did another Kickstarter print to reprint it. And what happened during that game? Someone was drinking beer and laughed from a comment that I made and just all over the game.
That was Jordan.
Yes. And it was all over the cards. And thank God they were sleeved, because all we did was just take them up and we just cleaned them off.
Wipe them off real quick.
Yeah, but there's beer all over the place.
Wow. Now,
that's not his fault for us. He technically didn't spill it, but,
Yeah, it's your fault.
No.
You said something funny.
Yeah.
Diego talks about keeping your hand a secret, that some people bend the cards. I think, William, you mentioned that. Some people will bend the cards when they hold them.
Yeah.
And that the sleeves can add some rigidity to the card to protect them.
Possibly, yeah.
I see that. I definitely, especially the thin cards in the cheaper games. Mitchell says, what is Blood Bowl? Never heard of it. I don't think Carlos has ever, mentioned it before.
Of course not.
Well, you know what? Moving on.
Yeah, we've had that conversation, and we'll continue to have that conversation. But
I love how Ryan pops in to explain to Mitchell
what Blood Bowl is, quite matter of factly.
One day I forget my laptop and it's going crazy.
Let's see here. Aaron says, I sleeve, that's Aaron from Ohio, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
I sleeve many of my games, but not all. Card quality and how much the cards are shuffled determines if I sleeve. So
there we go.
Qualifiers.
Okay. Deck builders, I guess. And again, there's a plus and a minus to that, because I do find those harder to riffle shuffle. So I guess if you're doing
But you don't like the drop shuffle?
I don't as much. I like the riffle. I can do a riffle shuffle a lot faster and get through more
I can riffle shuffle. You can riffle shuffle sleeve cards, folks, if you come in sideways.
Yeah.
You come in sideways.
It's easier sideways.
So you said the deck builders. We did at Armada. They didn't have a copy sleeve for a while.
Yeah.
And
which deck builder?
DC deck builder.
DC deck builder.
Okay.
Right. Back in and you can see, like, you open the box, you just look at the cards and like, I don't think this thing's gonna last much longer.
Yeah, so the demo version.
The demo version is like, I think so you kind of have to put some sleeve, maybe not dragon shields on those.
Yeah, because you're shuffling those over and over again.
Yeah.
Is your copy of Tyrant sleeved?
No, none of my games are. So, but again,
heart attack.
When you're stacking all those cards up and those sleeves, I mean, I just can't. That stack
But that's
is not
what
going to
they
stay
make.
there.
Carlos,
I'm trying to reach over for my broken token.
Don't spill your drink.
They make these card holders. Robert, you see me bust these out.
Those,
broken token makes these dividers
wooden,
where you can put in decks of cards in stacks, so like 4 or 2. card holders. So when they're sleeved, they still hold them upright.
But in time when you got that board that has all the little spots for them, I mean,
I
you'd be
don't know.
covering all that up.
Especially being first edition.
So,
now.
what about a game that comes with sleeves? I had a GMT game. Me and you haven't played yet. The Caesar one. It came with a pack of sleeves for the really long tarot size cards, and then it came with another pack of sleeves for the regular cards. And I was like, whoa, why do that? Why not just make them plastic?
Doesn't Tortuga come with sleeves?
No, they do not.
They do not.
He had dragon shields in his. I found that out.
That's what it was?
Yes. They do not come with sleeves. But I don't know. Why would games even do that?
Let's see.
What else you got there in chat?
Zeno pops in. Hi, I'm Zeno, and I'm a sleeve addict.
Oh.
And Diego, hi Zeno. I picture the circle of accountability there.
Oh.
Yeah, but Zeno plays the hell out of his games.
He does,
Yeah,
man.
that
He
makes
gets a lot
sense
of
to
gaming
sleep
going
those
on.
Games.
Yeah.
Aaron says, sorry, haven't called in a while. My wife and I bought our first home. Congratulations, homie.
That's cool.
That deserves an air horn
That's a
for
big,
for the home purchase, man.
Big
That's
step
beautiful.
there. Yeah.
I haven't had a lot of time. I know the feeling, man.
Yeah.
But hopefully once you get settled in, you can get a little corner or something for your games and get yourself going and give us a ring on what you've been playing.
Some towels, because could Rob spill stuff.
Yeah. Don't have me over.
Mr. Jeeves says, "Hi, I've played with non-gamers that dig their fingernails. Oh my god, that burns me.
Into the
Dig
cards?
into the edges of the cards. You know when people try to like pick up a card off the table and they kind of start grabbing from the edge.
That's why people have these mats. Because you can bend it in there.
He said he's screaming on the inside when I see it. Yes,
But that's one big reason why like a lot of Magic and card players have those rollout mats. Is because it's easier to bend underneath a mat than it is a hard table
there's no
to pick
doubt.
up a card.
Yeah, you don't want to play
that
cards
was-
on a glass table and you can't ever. They get that suction that you can never pick them up. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. I thought you were talking about like people cleaning their fingernails with a card.
Oh, no, I can do that too. Yeah.
I've seen that happen too. Like someone's like, yeah, and they just get bored and they go, okay.
And people do weird things.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Be slapping that person.
Well, that takes us to the end of our show. That was
10 o'clock.
Yeah, it was a spunky show.
I spent the first 15 minutes cleaning up a mess.
If y'all missed it, rewind to the beginning.
Yeah, I appreciate that Will was on that side of the table. I would have jumped.
I have to go back and watch it because I was busy setting up, kind of getting the equipment going. You folks may not be able to see it,
It
all
might have
here.
been your elbow. No.
And
it was your fault.
when I turned back around after starting the show, like I'm running the starting, I'm running the audio, I'm kind of moving the mixer boards, and I'm feeling some commotion behind me. Go back and rewind and watch.
Yeah.
Robert spilled like a half glass of Arnold Palmer tea.
Sweet tea lemonade.
All over Betrayal Legacy.
Yeah.
Completely set up on the table.
All
So
across the board.
I'm going to end with saying that's the reason, folks. That's the reason everyone should sleeve their games. If you're like Zeno, not only will you sleeve your game, you will laminate your boards and your player mats.
And sleeve your dice.
No, you wrap them in strand foil. Strand wrap.
That's sleeving. But
You
yeah.
wrap them in strand wrap.
Okay.
Protect your dice.
Then tie them off at the end.
Yeah.
They roll real nice that way.
No, but they're protected.
Oh, okay.
On that
On that
note,
note, yeah.
I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
And I clean up messes.
Thanks, William, for the help there.
Thank you.
We're the Beans and
Beans and Dice Podcast.
A podcast about
How we game.
Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all next week. Come over Saturday. Armada Games, 12 o'clock. We'll be out there playing games all night long.
12 to close.
We're
I'll be
going to
there.
shut that thing down.
Sweet.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.